Secretary Hegseth, you've had a tough start. At your confirmation hearing, my Democratic colleagues and I rightly questioned whether you had the requisite qualifications and experience to lead the DoD, the largest federal agency, especially given your checkered past, which included paying $50,000 in hush money to settle a sexual assault allegation against you and driving 2 veterans organizations into the ground. After only months on the job, our concerns about you have proven true, as far as I'm concerned. Instead of strengthening national security, you've turned the Pentagon into a dysfunctional mess. You are jeopardizing military operations and service members' lives with your unprecedented action of texting classified military plans to anyone who might stroke your ego. Leading the Department of Defense is more than just a PR campaign filled with photo ops. While you pose for cameras, Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine continues unabated. Israel and Iran are also at war, in large part because your boss tore up a multilateral agreement former President Obama brokered with the UK, France, Germany, China, and Russia that curbed Iran's nuclear program and ambitions.
In today's Senate Armed Services Committee hearing, Senator Hicks faced intense questioning over his qualifications to lead the Department of Defense. Critics raised serious concerns about his past controversies, including financial settlements and mismanagement of veterans organizations, arguing that these issues cast doubt on his ability to oversee the largest federal agency during a time of global instability. If you are following these confirmation hearings closely and want clear breakdowns like this, do not forget to subscribe for more in-depth reporting on national security and U.S. politics.
Meanwhile, China advances in the Pacific as this regime undermines and attacks our allies. At a time when steady leadership is critical, we are confronted with crisis and instability. Mr. Secretary, close to 5,000 Marines and National Guards have been deployed to LA without the request or consent of the California governor or the Los Angeles mayor, Bass. Rather than calming the situation, this troop deployment is purposefully inflaming and escalates tensions. You claim lethality is your top priority. Do you plan to unleash this lethal force against U.S. citizens and civilians in LA and other cities?
Well, Senator, I would reject most of the characterization of that statement, including lethality against U.S. cities, when all of those National Guardsmen and Marines have conducted themselves with the utmost of professionalism, defending our federal agents, Americans, who deserve to be able to do their job to deport illegal immigrants after the previous administration allowed 21 million illegals to cross our border. I am not here to listen
to rhetorical responses. I would like to have a professional response that I would expect from somebody who is the Secretary of Defense. Millions of people peacefully demonstrated this weekend against the president acting like a king. Given this regime's dangerous policy of mobilizing troops inside the U.S., the politicizing of the military is a legitimate concern. So, given the dangerous policy of mobilizing troops inside the U.S., if ordered by the president, I'm going to ask you once again, to shoot peaceful protesters in the legs, would you carry out such an order from the president?
Senator, as I've said before, of course, I reject the premise of your question and the characterization that I would be given or are given unlawful orders. It's all meant to attempt to smear the commander-in-chief, and I won't fall for it.
Considering that the president in his first term actually ordered such a thing, it is not a premise that you can reject. He can order, do the same thing. So you're, again, I think you would just follow what the president wants you to do. Let's face it, it is not normal to call up our troops in this way, and there is active litigation against this deployment. Will you follow a court's order regarding whether or not this deployment is legal? If the court says this deployment of troops into our cities is not legal, would you follow that court's order?
It's pending in the courts, Senator.
Well, when the court decides, would you follow the court's order, decision?
I don't believe district courts should be determining national security policy,
So
but
you will not be following that.
when it goes to the Supreme Court, we'll see.
Court. And unless the president decides to appeal, there you have it. So I take it that you don't consider district court decisions to be legitimate.
At the center of the exchange was the unprecedented deployment of roughly 5,000 Marines and National Guard troops to Los Angeles, a move executed without the consent of California's governor or the city's mayor. Lawmakers warned this could inflame tensions rather than calm them, especially amid ongoing domestic protests. The debate highlights a broader concern: is the U.S. military being politicized? And where should the legal boundaries be drawn? For more nuanced analysis of military policy and domestic security issues, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss future updates. Senators also criticized the Pentagon's handling of international crises. Russia's war against Ukraine remains ongoing. Israel and Iran are locked in escalating hostilities, and China continues to challenge U.S. influence in the Pacific. Lawmakers argue that these threats demand steady, experienced leadership, something they say is lacking in the current Pentagon strategy. If you want deeper context on U.S. foreign policy challenges and how they connect to domestic politics, make sure to subscribe and join the conversation in the comments below. One of the most striking moments came when senators pressed Hicks on whether he would follow a court order if judges ruled the troop deployments illegal. His refusal to commit raised constitutional questions about civilian oversight of the military and the balance of power between the executive branch and the judiciary. This clash could set a precedent for how future administrations handle domestic military use. Stay informed on these evolving legal battles and their implications by subscribing. We cover court rulings and their impact on policy as they happen.